Hi, my name is Kathy Pendleton, and I'm the Executive Director of Global Shore Opportunities here in Canada. Welcome to One Hope, our Vision Night 2021. We're so glad that you've decided to join us tonight, and we hope that tonight you're inspired and encouraged. When we were thinking of putting this evening together, we wanted to share stories of what is happening in Guatemala and in our ministry. We wanted to give you opportunities to give, and we want to encourage you as well. I'm based in Ontario, where lockdowns have gone on longer than anyone could have imagined, and COVID has affected us in so many ways. We might be placing our hope in vaccines, in the end of restrictions, in being able to see our loved ones again, and those are all good things. But as Christians, we have hope, one hope, and that is Jesus. His leading, His help, His presence. With His guidance, we have hope. And with this hope, we face each new day and each new challenge. And that's how Global Shore has operated over this past year. When schools closed, we looked to the Lord for our hope. Many of you have given financially over this past year to our need. When COVID put a stop to our funding sources, through you, God met our needs, and for that we are truly grateful. Tonight, you'll hear stories from some of our sponsors and partners who've actually had the opportunity to be in Guatemala and see the ministry firsthand. You'll also hear from some of our ministry leaders who work directly with the school. So as we begin tonight, I'm going to turn it over to Juliana, our Executive Director in Guatemala, and to Lexi, our Sponsorship Coordinator, to let us know a little bit about what's happening on the ground there now in Guatemala. Juliana and Lexi, we're so glad to be able to connect with both of you. Please tell us a little bit about what's happening on the ground in Guatemala this past year.
Well, it's really good to be here. I guess I'll speak for both of us. No, it's great to connect with you, Kathy, and it's been an interesting year for sure. I don't know if you remember last year we talked, and I think we finished off the year planning that we were going to start classes with our students in January 2021, and then that did not happen. And so it was really a last minute kind of shift for us. Our staff has had to really kind of pivot, take our plans, formulate a new plan, start over. So it's been a very interesting start to the year, and people have had to really kind of take off running. But it's been going really well. And I think we've also just had the Lord speak to us about a number of things that we need to be addressing and working on in our own lives. So He has definitely been working. He knew the place that we were going to be. The Lord knows the plans that He has for us, but He knows the times, and sometimes we don't know that ahead of time. But it's been a good start to the year. We're still doing classes online. And by that I mean videos that are posted online. The primary students are working with work packages. The carrera students are doing classes online, connecting with their teachers face to face
via Zoom.
Yeah. So that's been a really good way for our staff to connect with students. So yeah, that's been the start of our year, and I guess we're almost halfway.
So Juliana, what would you say is the teachers specifically? What would you say is their biggest challenge throughout this season of COVID and teaching within that environment?
Yeah, well, I think definitely, it's a bigger challenge in the primary grades for sure, but there's no real way to connect with the students and with the parents. So normally our school has a really, really strong support system for our students, and so there's a lot of connection, there's a lot of ministry time, there's a lot of extra help if students need it and want it, and they can't do that during this time. So I think that's probably the biggest challenge for them. There's a disconnect, right?
Right.
Some of our students suffer because of it, academically and emotionally. So we're really anxious to get back with them so we can kind of fill in those gaps.
Yeah. So Lexi, what would you say then, how are things going with students and families? You connect with them more specifically, and you must be hearing lots of stories coming out from students and families. I'm interested to hear from you what's been happening in more detail with students directly.
Yeah, so it's interesting because according to UNICEF, in Latin America, in the Caribbean, we've had the longest school closures in the world compared to other regions. And while other places have seen schools opening a few days a week in limited capacities, we had nothing. Like no in person whatsoever. Even our graduation last year for our high school grads, there was no event. So that's been tough. I've definitely seen, as Juliana mentioned, there's some students who really benefit from that direct connection at school with their teachers. And there are some students who really are missing that and are really, we really need that back, I would say. Mm-hmm. I receive letters from students for their sponsors, and they often, the littlest kids, they write, I miss school, or like, I miss the snacks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I miss my friends. And yeah, sometimes I wonder how odd it will be when they eventually come back. Mm-hmm. But we're hopeful that eventually, and that even though this year is different than what we expected, we'll be able to pick up where we left off with academically.
And how is GSO connecting with families specifically on the ground there?
So we have our school pastor here at the school. His name is Hirvi. And he has been going to visit all of the families at the school, I believe, if the families are comfortable with him coming to visit. And with masks, with all the precautions in place. And so that's been really special. I helped him organize all the families by area. So he'll go to this neighborhood in this town on one day and visit the families in that area. Sometimes he'll be gone for a few hours with just one family, talking with them, seeing how they're doing, praying with them. And when it's possible, he takes one additional teacher, like the homeroom teacher, or somebody who knows the student specifically. And that has been really special too. Also, some sponsors, just this month, we started doing pizza delivery for students' birthdays. So we're delivering a pizza lunch to some of the students' birthdays. So that's been really fun to have just that little bit of connection from their sponsor to them in their home.
Yeah, that's great. That's really good. I really appreciate both of you being able to share that with us. It gives us a tangible understanding of what's happening on the ground. We often just, support some of the students, or we might be a sponsor for the students, or we're a donor and we give money, but we might not be able to understand the actual needs on the ground. So it's really helpful to get that picture from you both. So thank you.
Okay, back about 2008 and 9, I was getting together as kind of a prayer group with Ken Wall, and he was all excited about this charity that they were starting in Guatemala, and between Robert and Carolyn and Juliana, obviously, and Ken and Julie, they were all excited about this, and he kept telling us about what was happening, and I just felt like through prayer and this repetition of hearing it that we should get involved in it.
I heard about Global Shore, obviously, because I'm related to Ken and Julie and Robert and Carolyn, so always kind of knew about it, and it was like in the back of my mind.
The way I first heard about Global Shore, I was very young, and my dad tells this story all the time, and I was wanting to go to Guatemala. For some reason, I might have seen it on the news or something, and my dad thought that was a crazy idea. I'm 8 years old, I'm not going to go to Guatemala.
My name is Kevin Ruano. Soy el pastor. I'm the pastor of the school.
Mi nombre es Jasmine de Ruano, soy esposa de él.
My name is Jasmine de Ruano. I'm the wife of Pastor Hervin, and together we've had the opportunity to serve the Lord for 12 years now. And it's been a great privilege.
While I was in college, I had to do a 6-month internship as part of my degree. So I thought, no better opportunity than to reach out and see if this could possibly work. It would be really cool, and it turned into just an incredible experience.
We had a friend named Jen, and she actually came back from a missions trip in Guatemala, and she was talking all about it. And my dad looked into more researching, and he said that our whole family should go and it would be a great opportunity for everyone.
I took a Henry Blackaby course a number of years ago, and it said, if you see God working, to get along and to be a part of that, where you see God working, and
Go to where he's working.
go to where he's working. So yeah, in 2010, there was this opportunity to join a trip down, a work mission, trip to Guatemala and be a part of the construction of the new school. So that's how it all started. Yeah.
The foundation of our vision is that our students would know the love of Christ, that they'd know it, and that they'd have a personal relationship with Him. We've seen lives transformed through this part of the vision. That they have a personal relationship with God is our desire.
We have the Word of God in each class. We work to teach the Word of God because we know this is our training manual for life and the way that we can hear the voice of God and be transformed through His Word. The teachers too have times with the students from kindergarten all through high school where they can listen to them, counsel them, and this is the way that we care for our students.
I think that also we felt challenged to present the gospel to our students, not just verbally, but also with our lifestyle as our testimony. And we say to them, look, this is how a Christian should act. We have the privilege to have young teachers, and we can say to them, here's Christ in this young person. And we as a couple, we can say, here's Christ in this marriage.
Our first experience with sponsoring a child was Manuel, and he was quite old compared to the rest of the kids because he had just started school for the first time, the first opportunity given to him, and so he's like the oldest, tallest kid in the class. But yeah, it was great to see him, and he was very shy. But yeah, just to be able to be part of giving him the opportunity to go to school, it was very rewarding.
One day I was like, there's something more I can be doing here. Like, yes, I'm here for 5 or 6 months, but like, after I leave, what is my impact or what can I continue to do? I met Isaac, which was really cool because he was super shy. I was probably really awkward. But it was like this really neat opportunity to like, one day it was like, he just kind of looked at me as somebody who cared about him.
When I first decided to sponsor a student is when we found out about Global Shore. And my dad was talking to me about it and we learned a bit more about it because I wasn't sure what that meant at first. And he started sponsoring a young boy named Kevin, and I started sponsoring a girl named Aylin, which was around my age. And when we first got to go on a missions trip to Global Shore, we went to the school during recess, and her and a couple of her friends came up to me, and I just remember their smiles and they were so happy. And it was just crazy to see her in person because we've been talking all this time.
I've always been hesitant to like sponsor kids through like these programs and things like that. But my experience with Global Shore has like totally changed that because I had that one-on-one, face-to-face interaction where it's like, you know, this is where my help is going.
It's definitely changed over the years as we've both grown up together. We've started talking a bit more. Her English has gotten better. I've tried to speak a little more in Spanish.
From the time we started to now, it's just amazing to see the kids getting a Bible-based education and a beautiful school and teachers. It's just a wonderful ministry to be part of.
Our vision is that our students would be led by the Holy Spirit of God. That's our desire. That's what we long for. That in every part of their lives, they could be led by the Spirit. We realized through the 12 years we've been here that the best way to work with our students is from the inside out. What really leads to academic excellence in our students is what's going on in their soul, in their spirit. The academic excellence has come as a consequence of a 70% focus on their spiritual lives.
We've had students who think they're not intelligent, that they can't cut it. And God has done something impressive in them. He's changed their way of thinking, and they have come to believe that they can succeed. We've had students who said, I thought I wouldn't be able to do this. But when the Lord is there, working in them, they realize that they are capable.
Why do we keep on giving after all these years? Well, it's an investment. We have found, and we've based, our married life on investing in God's kingdom. And this is definitely part of God's kingdom.
When I think of Global Shore, I think of a organization that I have more of a connection to than any other organization that we either donate to or have been involved with in any other way, and that's mostly just because of the time that I've actually spent on the ground in Guatemala with the team, and that's it was a big piece of us choosing to continue to support Global Shores over the years.
I still give to Global Shore like I did when I first started because my motivation is the same. I never want to stop helping people, and sponsoring a child is such an amazing opportunity, and you get to create such a good connection with them. So that's something I want to do for a while.
And yeah, we do go down. We like to travel, but it doesn't mean you have to go down. You can still be part of that vision and be a blessing and be blessed, because what's going on there is an amazing thing.
Hearing from Hermine and Jasmine, I feel encouraged about what God is doing on the ground in Guatemala, how He's helping us to accomplish our vision of transforming lives through Christ-centered education. That's why I work with Global Shore Opportunities, and that's why you're here tonight as well. We are really encouraged to know that God is continuing His work despite some of the great challenges that we have faced. We know that one by one, God is changing the landscape in Guatemala, and that there will be a huge ripple effect. It's so encouraging to hear from Dave and Helen and Ryan and May about God, how God has touched so many lives through the work of Global Shore. This has such a ripple effect across the world, not just in Guatemala, when we can partner together. When we sent out our newsletter last month, we shared of our shortfall of $50,000. We believe that God is still calling us to continue the ministry of Global Shore. And in order to do this work, we believe that your partnership is essential. We're going to take a moment now and give you the opportunity to give. You may not have the capacity to give right now, and we understand that. But if you do, we would ask that you would prayerfully consider what God is asking you to give to the work of Global Shore Opportunities. Perhaps you can give a one-time gift, or perhaps you might increase your sponsorship. Or maybe you want to become a monthly partner with us. If you're interested in any of those possibilities, we would love for you to go to globalshore.org/onehope. And there you'll see a graphic that outlines how much has already been contributed to the $50,000 shortfall that we're asking for this evening. We'll give you a moment now to do that. Feel free to take a moment. I hope that you've been encouraged tonight. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We are encouraged by your support. We are encouraged by your stories. And we're so grateful that God has given us hope. He is able to do exceedingly above all that we could ever ask or think. And that is our prayer, that you would hold on to that hope and hold on to that truth tonight. Thank you again for joining us. Good night.